This is the Retirement Key Podcast with Abe Abich, founder of Abich Financial Services.
5 changes to make to your 401k that could make a big difference for your retirement. Allegedly. This is what we're going to unpack, right? This is Abe Abich, financial advisor, founder of Abich Financial Services, and I'm Heather Branch, here with Abe to ask for his insight about the things we hear, the things we see, and how they do or don't apply to us and our retirement plan. Specifically, lists I feel come from this. MarketWatch.com is a very viable resource. We use MarketWatch.com all the time in these podcasts on your radio program, Abe.
Yeah.
People go to MarketWatch.com for information and advice, which is why I wanted to ask you about this list, because they posted this article with that headline, 5 changes to a 401k that could make a big difference to your retirement. And the things that are on this list, several of which I have, and you and I have been having this conversation about retirement planning for years, Abe, and they mentioned things that I have never heard of. So my question was going to be, could you hit on what they talked about? We don't have to go into it too much terrible detail, but do you agree with these things, or is this not necessarily, in your opinion, viable information? Is there other things we need to be looking at regarding our 401k and the x-ray process?
Yeah, I think some of these are pretty interesting. Starting with the first one, to give credits for long-term family caregivers. So you think about our clients, right? Typically in their 60s, kind of sandwiched in between taking care of their parents and getting the kids out of the house and making sure their kids are financially stable and off and on their own.
Yeah.
But taking care of their parents, that might be in their 80s, 90s. Oftentimes clients will have to leave work, stop working, and go from full-time to part-time, or full-time to no income while the other spouse is working.
Yep.
This spouse is taking care of their mom or dad, their aunt, whatever. And a lot of times our clients become caregivers for their older, relatives who are older or just fall sick, and they work less, which means less income. So there is a bill in Congress, it appears, that would allow people to make catch-up contributions to retirement accounts, such as 401ks and IRAs, if they did take time away to serve as a caregiver, which is nice.
Okay.
It's nice. Hey, if you have to do that, you set aside time to help a family member, then you should have an opportunity to maybe catch up and contribute to catch up on contributions you may have missed when you were working.
Okay.
Automating annuities inside target date funds and inside 401ks.
This is a loaded one, because I know target date funds on their own is a controversial investment tool within our 401ks and TSPs.
Yeah, the idea with a target date fund, sometimes, Heather, they can be called life cycle funds. Let's say you picked the 2040 fund or the 2060 fund. The idea there would be, we're in 2025 right now, that 35 years from now, if you picked a 2060 fund is when you're going to retire. A 2060 fund might be appropriate for a 30-year-old, a 35-year-old, that's going to retire in 35 years. So a 2060 fund would probably have a lot of stock in it, a lot of growth-focused investments in the fund. But target date funds are linked to when investors want to retire. So again, you pick a 2030 fund, you're going to have a lot less stock, maybe more bond, fixed income in there. And the funds automatically adjust from more aggressive to more conservative the closer and closer you get to retirement, and the closer and closer you get to that target date, 2030, 2040, 2060. And that's a shift from equities to fixed income, from stocks to bonds. But now some 401k providers are offering target date funds that automatically incorporate annuities into the portfolio as allowed by the changes in the Secure Act 2.0. That's interesting. Why would 401k providers, like the biggest ones out there, the T. Rowe Prices, the Fidelities of the world, why would they be offering annuities inside of these funds and plans? It's because people want and need them. Specific types of annuities. Why, you would ask? Well, that's because you're now 60, 65. You've got several million or more saved. You've got the amount of money you need saved to retire, coupled with Social Security and other things. But now, for the first time in your life, you need income. You need withdrawals. You need distributions from this big pile of money. You saved it. You socked it away. You have the dollar amount. Now you're going to stop working. You need income from your portfolio. Well, annuities and, of course, other instruments can help you to generate income that you can depend on in retirement. Speaking of income, 401ks are now offering more guaranteed income options inside plans. There are many more guaranteed income products available outside of 401k plans than inside of them. And having a centralized marketplace could make the process simpler to navigate and become more affordable. These are suggestions. Things like this are starting to happen now. Outside of 401k plans, as the article suggested, you look at like a Charles Schwab or Fidelity platform. You look at maybe the differences between having a 401k and an IRA. You might be confined or limited to maybe 15, 20, 25 different options in your company plan. Thousands and thousands of options inside of an IRA at a major custodian.
Got it.
That's typically going to be to your advantage. And again, you got to weigh the pros and cons. Should I leave the money there? Should I roll it over? You need to look at the pros and cons of both so you make a good decision. One suggestion in this article is to forbid pre-retirement withdrawals. They call it leakage. Problems occur when retirement assets are taken out of accounts prior to retirement for non-retirement related expenses. We do see it from time to time. Someone wants a nice piece of jewelry or a brand new car, and the car is $30,000 to $40,000 more than they thought it was going to be or whatever. They decide to buy a $100,000 car instead of a $60,000 car. Workers face hurdles in rolling over their savings from one type of plan to another when they change jobs. So preventing people maybe from pulling money out other than for retirement-related expenses could solve maybe people tapping into the retirement accounts too early.
Okay.
Finally, making plans available to more people. So there are companies that don't even offer 401ks.
Yeah.
Maybe instead they could offer IRAs or just some type of savings tool at their workplace to help employees save and save as much as possible by the point of retirement.
Yeah.
So those are changes and potential changes that could benefit and add value to existing 401k plans. And it's interesting to see the kind of the landscape starting to change and help people that are approaching retirement more, because that's what people need and deserve.
I think that also as we savers continue to work longer and we change jobs more often, the consumers, the people that lawmakers are serving, they are going to need to listen to us and what we want. We're going to have demands for more options within our retirement savings accounts. And this gets back to the work that you do at Abish Financial Services, educating people that come to the office, looking for clarity and understanding, letting people understand what those options are, what they can do now by the law without taxation, without fees, or what the tax penalty would be, et cetera. So let's talk about by the way, the retirementkey.com is where you can go to talk to Abe and his team, connect with us there. We also have links posted in the show notes. Let's talk about the 401k X-ray or the TSP X-ray process that you do at Abish.
Right.
And what somebody should and could learn from that, and suggestions that you've made for people, things that you've seen happen in that process.
Yeah, well, it'd be no different than, something's up with your car, something's up with your body.
Yeah.
You
get a physical every year, you get your car tuned up, you get your oil changed.
And you want to go, you get an opinion from your current mechanic and your current doctor, but, it's a big deal, and maybe someone's recommending knee surgery, and you've got a problem with your knee, but maybe you don't want to go as far as knee surgery.
Yeah.
So you get a second opinion to see if you can prevent surgery and going down that road. It's no different with your investments. You're either working with an advisor right now or you're not. So you're working with an advisor or you're doing it on your own. And you've probably been pretty successful, and you may have a good chunk of money saved. You may be proud of the amount that you've saved. And oftentimes people that we see come in with good amounts saved, the right amount saved, enough saved to retire on their terms, which is awesome.
Yeah.
But they don't truly understand and know what they have. I mean, most people, they hear about it, they hear about the pros and cons, they continue investing, and they go about their lives and they forget it. And they know that the dollar amount, they have a general idea maybe as to what they have. Some people have no idea, but most people in this area have a general idea as to what they have, and then they forget. They may need to be reminded. And the markets go up and down, and it changes the balances and the allocations and all these things. And investments can be complex, so we try to keep things simple and really kind of dumb things down, keep them understandable, and educate people as to what they have. So when they come in for that 401k or TSP X-ray or X-ray and portfolio analysis on the whole plan, before coming in, they've sent our team their statements or their holdings. We've uploaded all those holdings and positions either into Morningstar or Riskalyze or both, typically both, because each software will give us different information on who that client is on paper and what their investments are and the pros and cons of those investments. The upside, the downside, we'll stress test the investments and say, hey, in really good markets, if you continue down this path, you're going to get most of what the markets are going to give you. if you continue down this path and made no changes, this is the potential losses you'll have. You have this amount in stocks, this amount in bonds, this amount in cash. Here's the cost. Here is the risk level. You're telling me you want to be a 50-50 split. You're telling me you want to be a 60-40 split between stocks and bonds or stocks and safety. But you're a 90-10 right now. You're 90%. And by the way, did you realize you've got $1 million in Oracle or $1 million in NVIDIA or whatever it is? Did you realize, some of these companies have done really well, but now your exposure to this sector or this asset class or this company or companies is really high. Are you aware of that? And now that you're getting closer and closer to retirement, now is a great time, especially with the markets hitting all-time highs, just continuing to maybe pull in the reins, pull some chips off the table, reduce risk. De-risking the portfolio right at the point of retirement is absolutely key.
Yeah.
And it just makes a lot of sense to me and to us as a firm because the amount of money is there. And you've worked for 30 to 50 years to get here.
Yeah.
And you've been prudent and you've been diligent and you've been consistent and you've saved the right amount. That's typically almost always what we see.
Okay.
We hardly ever see how there's someone come in and they haven't saved enough and they have to continue to work.
Okay.
It's no, you can retire and you can actually retire now, not in 2 years. You can retire today.
Yeah.
So that hopefully gives you some background as to what a portfolio X-ray is going to provide a client or a prospective client so they can truly understand, hey, here's what I have today, pros and cons, here's everything about my investments. Another really interesting fact that's in these reports that shows clients is you have a husband and wife, you might have 5, 10 or more accounts at all these custodians, IRAs, 401ks, TSPs, brokerage accounts, cash accounts, all these things. When you do an analysis and an X-ray on all these accounts and all these positions, most of the time you will see a lot of overlap. Like you and your husband might have the same fund. It might be a Vanguard fund or a Fidelity fund in each one of your 401ks, and you're duplicating efforts. You're overlapping efforts. Ideally, as a household, you own Apple or NVIDIA or whatever it is, Tesla, one time over, maybe twice over.
Okay.
Sometimes when couples come in, especially husband and wife with many accounts, you'll see companies like Apple, Microsoft, Tesla, NVIDIA owned 10 to 15 times over in their portfolio. In the husband's 401k, in the husband's IRA, in the wife's 401k, in the wife's IRA, in the joint brokerage account.
Yeah.
And you're owning these companies over and over and over, and it's inefficient. And so when you can consolidate and streamline and bring all these resources together, bring all the accounts together, bring all the funds together, you're typically going to have less cost, more efficiency, more clarity, right? Because now you're down from 10, 15 accounts down to a few accounts, a few custodians, like maybe a few places where your monies actually live versus 5 to 10.
Okay.
All that happens by putting together a plan is so you get the X-ray, you determine, hey, here's where I stand. If I don't make a change, here's the road I'm headed down. If I do make a change, this is what it's going to look like. And it all comes from education.
That's right. That's right. And that's, of course, what you are looking to do through every X-ray process, every portfolio review that you and your team do at Abich Financial Services. Abe wants to empower you with information and education. As he pointed out a few minutes ago, you're the one that's done the hard work for the past 30, 40, sometimes 50 years saving your nest egg. But so many of us just have no idea what's really going on within that nest egg, which is what Abe and his team are here to show you through the X-ray process. So if you have questions, if you're ready to begin your own portfolio review and X-ray on your 401k, your TSP, your other savings account, Abe and his team, they are here for you. You can find us at theretirementkey.com or click on the links we've got posted in the show notes. Also want to remind you about, when it comes to empowering and educating, want to remind you about Abe's book, The Retirement Mountain, The 7 Steps to a Long-Lasting Retirement. It's just a couple, maybe about 100 pages. So an easy read, just Abe's effort to put pen to paper and educate you, all the experience that he's gotten over the past almost 20 years, over 20 years now, I guess, in the financial services industry.
23.
Yeah. So you took some time How can it be possible when you only are 23?
Times two.
That's right. Well, it's all about how you feel. But as anybody listening to this podcast will tell you, close to retirement, it's all about how you feel and your outlook and your mindset. But when it comes to your money, there's lots to unpack. Abe wants to, again, empower you with information. And so lots of ways for you to get a copy of this book. For anybody that comes into the office for an appointment, we'll give you a free copy. You can download the digital version. That's a free way for you to get it as well. Abe also read and published the audio book. That is, what are the platforms for the audio book?
It's on Amazon.
Okay. So you can find more links to Amazon as well to purchase the book or listen to the audiobook that way. Again, just more opportunities to empower you with information and education. Click on the links we got posted in the show notes. You can also find us at theretirementkey.com.
Thanks for listening to the Retirement Key Podcast with Abe Abich. To learn more about Abish Financial Services, visit theretirementkey.com and join Abe for his radio show, The Retirement Key, Saturdays at 8 a.m. and 2 p.m. and Sundays at 8 a.m., 2 p.m., and 5 p.m. Abish Financial Wealth Management is a registered investment advisor with the SEC. Registration as an investment advisor does not imply a certain level of skill or training, and the content of this communication has not been approved or verified by the United States Securities and Exchange Commission or by any state securities authority. The information contained in this material is intended to provide general information about Abish Financial Wealth Management and its services. It is not intended to offer investment advice. Investment advice will only be given after a client engages our services by executing the appropriate investment services agreement. Information regarding investment products and services are provided solely to read about our investment philosophy and our strategies.